Hi guys, and welcome or welcome back to the channel. Today's video is this month's Let's Colour, and I know it's coming very late, so I am sorry about that. The winner of the vote this month was Hanna Karlzon Tales from the Forest Kingdom, which is nice because this will go towards the hashtag support Hanna Karlzon. And I'm going to do this little page. I know it's a bit of a letdown page, but there's reasoning to it and I will explain. Reason number one, I've not been well this month, so it got so late in the month that I just won't get a very detailed page done. So, you know, I'm not going to lie, we'll be honest, there's that. Reason number two, I thought it would be nice to show some lighting effects, and also I've had a few requests to show my kind of the way I create my page. So I thought, well, that works perfectly because it's a little one, so I can talk you through and we can do it that way for one. So I've picked my page, and I usually do that by having a buddy pick me a page, or the Let's Vote will pick my page, or I'll sit and flip through some of my books, or as I've done this year, I'm focusing on a small set number of books, or however way I first select my page. And then you guys know I'm not one for a master plan, but I like to have a bit of what's going on. So I always pick the page I'm going to do before I decide pencils, and that's important because some of your pencils will work nicely on some of your paper and some will not. And I do have a new what pencil what paper update soon, guys. I know you guys have been asking, and I don't like to put them out too often because it'd only be 2 updates, but now I've worked in a few different papers and I've got a few new pencils. There will be one coming. So we've got this page, and in my head I'd quite like this to be like cave mushrooms. Does that make sense? Like blue, purple, violet, bit of pink, and almost a backlit glow, and then I want a dark circle around them. And there's the challenge. We will see if we can create that. So I know on this smooth Hanna Karlzon paper, my Polychromos work really nice. So I've pulled those. As always, guys, use whatever you want, whatever you have, whatever you like. It does not matter. What we're going to want is a dark, a medium, and as pale a blue as we can find. That really is how simple my blend choices are. Of course, sometimes, you know, you have a go and think, that needs to be slightly different, and you will tweak something, but for the most part, I think I might add this kind of teal colour in there. I think that might be really pretty. And then I would like a little bit of purple. I don't know if I'm off camera, I'm at. So I'm thinking lighter purples maybe. Let's try this one, and they're not the best for pale purples in the Polychromos really. Either that or I've got them out somewhere. Let's go with this pinky purple. So we've got a bit of a lighter colour. So a medium and a light purplish tone. And then I do want a little bit of pink. And I'm going to go kind of this bubblegum pink. And then I'm going to go with this beige red. Now I know depending on which set you have of Polychromos, beige red has changed name, so it's the number 132. Again, doesn't matter. You want quite a pale pink and kind of a more bubblegum medium pink tone. I of course want an ivory and a white. I'm going to pull those out. And more of an ivory than a cream. I don't want yellow in this. You know, when you're deciding the tones for your page and the lighting for your page, you're also deciding the kind of lighting. I'm obviously going to be a very white, very mystical light, not a yellow sunshine kind of light. So I want ivory as my, you know, as the darkest kind of yellow tone in there. Mainly white, and the pale pink will do, and I don't really want any yellow light in there. I'll probably even wipe my stars out as well. Right, so we've got that, we've got our idea, we've got a bit of paper just in case, so that if we're being well behaved we can, you know, check our tones. I do have my Holbein, so let's see. If you have a pastel set and you can pull out some paler tones, that's perfect. I'm trying to decide. I might go with this mauve, this pale purple. I'm thinking that is probably all I need, to be honest. I want this really pale blue. Might pull out the really pale blue. If you don't have a pastel set, again, it does not matter. Add some white to your lightest colour. Make your lightest colour, lay it down a little bit finer, add some white, especially if you've got Prisma. I mean, that'll melt up. White will melt right in. You know, as always guys, does not matter. I'm thinking that my background's probably going to be some gel crayon. Surprise, I know. I've got a white gel pen because I am going to want to white out some of the lines where the light is, and I'm thinking that my light source is going to come from above, and I'm even considering, like, you know, almost like rays, if I can make that work. We'll see. Not brilliant at stuff like that. So in order to be transparent and actually show you how I decide, I'm going to zoom out. This is my ridiculous collection of gel crayons. This is my gel crayon drawer, as it's come to be known to be. So I'm thinking I'm going to want some black, probably some dark grey, and then some blues. Just pull a few different blue tones out. And then we can play and decide later. And again, simple as that. That really is. Ooh, yeah, grey or blue. Maybe even a little bit of white. You never know. Might pull this Distress Crayon White. It's quite a good one. Right. Bit of blue, bit of black, some grey, some white. Again, use what you have. It doesn't matter. And yeah, I know. No judgment. It's a judgment-free zone is colouring. Do what you wish. Right. I'm going to zoom you guys in. I'm going to move my picture around a bit. And we will begin. So, as I say, important that you pick where your light source is. What your light source is, and then you can kind of start to create the map of things in your mind. I am going to put some kind of white stripes, mainly because it will resist the gel crayon later, and because I'm thinking that it's kind of possible it might end up pretty. So obviously you won't see anything until later, but I'm hoping that will kind of look a little bit like moonlight. We're going to pretend there's a hole in our cave ceiling and we've got a little bit of moonlight coming through. In person you can kind of see where your white's gone down on this paper, which is useful. And then we're going to map out our light source. So I do add light and shadows, and I will, especially when I've got a very specific light source, I will add it into my page. So we're going to pop a little bit of white, as always fade it off, across the top of these mushrooms because they're directly situated in my light source. And we've just added our highlight in. And same for my stones. I'm going to pop them kind of not across the top, more across the top of the middle. Just patches. Am I going to want some grey for those rocks? See, plans have to be fluid. Do we want to pull out a little bit of grey? We'll pull it just in case. So I'm going to go back into my Polychromos, and I'm going to pull cool tone, medium, and very pale. And I love this kind of silvery grey, really, really pale. So medium, pale, very pale. Again, if you don't have a very pale, just add some white to your grey, it's fine. It really doesn't matter. I will list the colours I use below, just because people like that, but as always, use whatever you want, use whatever you have. Just adapt them to your pencil style and the pencil type that you've got. And practice makes perfect, guys. So, decisions for mushrooms. I'm going to start with my blues. We are going to sharpen our pencils. It's a small picture, small points. Sharpen your pencils. Work with a nice point. Bear with me. Probably, like, you know, I would have done this beforehand, but obviously I wanted to pick my pencils with you guys. And I wasn't about to sharpen my entire pencil case, so sorry guys. Where's my bin? Oh. See, real life. I need to empty my pencil sharpener, it's full. That's the only thing. I do keep meaning to get myself one of those clear Tigals. They do seem like a good idea. Because I always forget to empty my pencil sharpener. And then it gets so full it's like almost spewing out the top of the pencil sharpener. Anyway, random stuff, nobody cares. Right, let's see. I would usually advise a colouring glove. Don't know where I've put mine. Don't know where my finger sleeve is. Oh, the organisation. Where is it? Nope, don't seem to have one. I thought, well, I was doing well just remembering my gel crayons and my white gel pen were. Right. As always, I start with my dark. Depends how you prefer, but I'm going to take my dark blue. I'm going to run that underneath these little spots to give them dimension. Fade that off, just a little. That will immediately make those spots kind of pop off the page a little bit. A little bit of dark blue in the bottom. And to be honest, a little bit of dark blue because it's the dark colour that I've chosen just under here. I'll use it as a shadow colour as well. It will work for my purple just fine. Well, quite a navy blue. This one in the Polychromos is dark indigo 157. We're going to do that. This will be a longer video today, guys, because I'm just going to do the entire thing with you. And even though it's a tiny picture, you guys know that will still manage to take me time. So we're just adding little shadows underneath all those dots. And then a little bit of blue along the bottom of these mushrooms. As always, dark along the edge and then fade in so your next colour will blend in. A little bit up the side. And quite dark under here. And a little bit of shadow in there. Can you guys even see? Is my big hand in the way? Who knows? Hope you're all keeping well and having fun. January is a difficult month for everyone, isn't it? It's such a blur kind of month. Very much. Same again, just a little bit of blue up the side, along the bottom. And a little bit underneath. So even if under these spots might be in the highlight area, because they're in shadow, we're still adding that dark colour. We're always just sitting and thinking, if I was a 3D object and the light was above my head, where would my shadows be cast? And since we're going to be working in these books quite a bit, I suppose it makes sense to get our title page out of the way. And I see loads of people do mushrooms like this and they always look really good. Right, we need the sides in the middle of this one. And this one. And then we're just going to move to a slightly lighter blue. I've got bluish turquoise 149. It's just a bit warmer, a bit brighter. And I'm only going to kind of just ever so slightly extend that in and up from the bottom a little bit. I'm going right over that bottom shadow. It will sit underneath there still, while we're also adding this blue to it. As always, fade it off into nothing. Sorry guys, just refocus that. Is that better? Is it moving around? Hope not. Nothing more annoying than that is it's my camera. Every time I move it, it has to be you have to lock the focus back in. Right, that's our second blue. So I am going to add a bit of this kind of teal colour. What are we? Cobalt green 156. And I'm just gonna pick a side. So on this side, I'm gonna do my cobalt in the right hand side a little bit. Just a little of it. Just over the top of everything. Just on this right hand side. You just want kind of an aqua colour in whatever set you're using. Just a nice pretty green blue. And then on these on the left, I'm going to pop a tiny bit on that left hand side. It's a small thing, but it just gives it a little bit of interest, a little bit of colour shift, a little bit pretty. Don't think we need both of these blues, so I'm going to go for my pale Horizon Blue 312 from Holbein. So just as pale a blue as you can. If you only have kind of a normal blue, put it down lightly and then add some white. And we're just going to mix that in and up the middle. And then fade that off. So the top is still white essentially rather than blue. And you can come back in with your white just to re-emphasise that. So you're going to have that pale blue middle, that aqua side, and then that white tip. Things will make sense later. Never judge your page till it's done. Because quite frankly, they tend to look a bit crap until then. Which is normal. Bit of white in the top. Just to smooth that out. I'll do all these the same. Oh, I forgot my bit of shadow in this one. How long have you guys been screaming at me to fill that in? Right, little bit of shadow just here. Haha. Would you like me to bring you guys further in? I think it's small enough that we'll get away with it. Without me having to move my camera and forgetting. No white to this one. Okay, and then as always, our golden rule, go back to that dark blue, that in my case dark indigo 157, that really dark navy, and we redo our shadow. Put that depth and contrast back in where you've lost it from layering over. Don't think I've ever done blue mushrooms before. I'm surprised it took me this long. You see them all over and they always look really good. It took me absolutely ages to delve out of realistic colours for things, and even now, I mean, I'm terrible for not changing to fantastical colours. If grass is green, it's green. But I'm trying to work on it. Right, so that's our depth. We're starting to get a little bit of shape to things now. Okay, we'll do our stalks, and I think this is where my purple and pinks is going to come in. Again, I'm going to sharpen everything. Now I've already got some colour in. This is the point for me where the colour blends become a tiny bit more important, because you don't want to clash with what you've already got. So I probably would kind of do a little test. Ooh. Get rid of that one. Too warm, I think. Get rid of that one. Right, that's simple as that. We're going for a mid purple. I've got crimson 134. A kind of darkish pink, light purple pink 128. And then this, I've got mauve in the Holbein 434, and it's just a paler purpley pink. Anything will do, guys. I'm going to add my darker colour into the bottom and just really blend that off to nothing. And I am going to pop a little bit over the top of that navy shadow. That will give us a pinky blue, which is essentially dark purple. To give this one a bit more length, because we've got more length to work with. And I am going to treat that like it's two parts. There's nothing not peaceful about colouring, is there? Once you settle into it, you've got a plan, got your pencils, got your colours. And you start just shading them in. It's very relaxing. Right, we're going to go with this pink colour now, this light purple pink 128. I'm going to take that over the top of that purple a little and just really bring that into nothing. I've got a funny feeling I'm not going to use this. I don't think we're going to use that mauve. I think what I'd prefer to do is use my white. So, changing plan, we're going to use this pink and really fade that into nothing, into the middle. We're trying to aim for where the stalks bend out, because that's where you'd get that little bit of highlight, so it makes sense. This one's not getting one. It's all in shadow. Now we're going to keep this pink. I'm going to keep this nice teal green that we used earlier, and we're going to keep the light blue. I'm going to keep those to one side. I'm going to take my white and we'll resharpen it, and we're just going to pop that over the middle. Smooth that in. Okay, that is almost our mushrooms complete. We're going to move into our greys. For these little dots, because there's such small spaces, I'm going to take that darker grey that I picked, Cold Grey 4233, and the really, really pale grey, Cold Grey 230. If you don't have anything that pale, again, you can just add a bit of white to a darker shade. And this time, again, to give our dots a little bit of substance, we're going to put a tiny bit of darker grey along the bottom. And fade that off. I'm going to do that with all of them. You see, you already start to look like the little bumps, so it's to change the way that they look. Next one. Okay, now I can already tell they're not dark enough for me. So we're going to go back into our set of pencils and we're going to pull out almost black. I'm going to go Paynes Grey, 181 in the Polychromos, just a really dark grey. If you don't have just a black, just very little pressure. And I'm going to place that underneath the other grey, not extending it as far. Contrast is key. Dark is dark, light is light. Don't be scared to really add that depth. It's going to really make the difference. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you just want to colour a blue mushroom with white dots and pink stalks, you can do that too. You really don't have to do all this. Depends how you enjoy your hobby, doesn't it? can only really show you the way I do stuff. And you can adapt it to you. Right, so we've just darkened those up a little bit. Now I'm going to take that really pale colour, that cold grey one, 230. I'm just going to pop that over the top. And I will use that to blend and soften. Okay then, soften the edge of that darker grey, but I'm not going all the way down onto that darker grey because we'll just lose it. I'm just meeting it and blurring where they join. And it will just magically fix those little harsh lines. Don't think I've got, not seen any dark grey there. That looks very light. Fix that. And that one. I think I just missed this mushroom entirely. And again with my dark blue, just a final layer underneath those circles. Okay, I'm going to sit back, have a little look, see if we're happy with that. And then we're going to do our stone. So, let's see. We've got a dark grey, medium grey, pale grey. I have Paynes grey 181, cold grey 4233, cold grey 1230. So you want a cool toned grey in dark, medium, light as you can. Going to take our dark as always, and our shadow is mainly concentrated around the bottom of these rocks. Just lighten and blend that off. You want to do it in a bit of a round shape, following the shape of those rocks. Same for this one in behind. And then our next grey, that cold grey 4, we're just going to extend that up a little bit from the other one. And the difference this time, we're going to take it around the top a little bit, so it's like it's going around the back of the rock. That moves the top of this rock into the middle instead of at the back. So we come around the bottom, but then we take this grey just along the top a little as well. Gives it a more three-dimensional shape by moving the top of that rock, whatever, into the middle of the picture. Back to that darker grey, because we've just got a little bit of shadow in here. Is that my dark grey? Yes. Whew. Just in there. And again, just going to come in and round, because sometimes at the top of a 2D drawing is not actually the top of where a 3D shape would be. It's actually more in the middle. Right, we're then going to take this pale grey, this cold grey 1, and I'm going to colour everything, but we're not really going to burnish that. I'm just going to pop a couple of layers, blend stuff in, smooth things out. Don't worry about these little black lines, we'll gel pen those later as highlights. Don't know what's the matter with my page there. Got a little bit streaky. At least it's a rock, so it just looks like it maybe blends. Right, and then we're gonna be a little bit, have a little bit of fun. We're gonna take our, I've put quite a few layers on that, so it is almost burnished. We're gonna take our pink. I'm gonna pop a little bit of pink down in a couple of places, almost like a little C, kind of where your highlight would be. And a little bit of that teal, same sort of thing. Just to give those rocks some reflected colour. Well, that might be fun. Just a little. This blue might be a bit light. And then we're going to come back over that with our white, just gently, just to kind of smooth that, lighten that, and burnish that in. Just reduce that down to more of a tone than a bright colour. It just gives the appearance of a little bit of reflected colour on those rocks. Just a simple, easy bit of fun. Right, so that's the basis of what we want. I'm going to take our white, and don't think I'm going to use the ivory, and we'll see. We'll go with the white first. We're going to outline and then fade off our mushrooms. You'll not be able to see this. Try not to smudge your ink into it. Just round those mushroom heads best you can. A white layer. So just like a ½ centimetre layer all the way around, just the mushroom heads. Okay, are we adding our shadows in now or late? Right, I'm gonna take my dark grey and I'm gonna mimic the stems. Remembering my light's coming from above, so my stems would continue at a downwards angle. Just little jaggedy. Doesn't have to be perfect. Starts to look a little bit like a line about as thick as the stalk. Not even being all clever and adding the shape of the mushroom heads, just the reflections of the stalks. We could have done this first, but I always find it easier to just pattern them in later. Again, optional. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. But we've got that kind of look now. Do we want to extend that one there? Maybe. Okay, so you've got kind of a stripy look. That one looks a bit too stripy, I might just blend. There we go. Okay. And there you have little shadows from your mushrooms. So we've done a lot of prep work to this. We can only hope it works. Sometimes you've got to, you guys know me, I don't practice these things first. So we can only hope it turns out the way I wanted it to. I've got some of the little craft brushes, my version of makeup brushes. I've got kind of a medium, a small and a tiny. I'm going to start with a lighter blue so that we don't... I wonder if I have an iridescent blue. Do we think we have an iridescent nice if we did. Because they're really pale. Oh, no, not an iridescent. What am I thinking of? What do I want? I want a translucent, I think. I've got a feeling I don't have a blue in my translucent set. They're nice, but they're just a really pale version. I'm going to try this. We'll see. Right, so just a light blue, guys. Again, use whatever you have, it doesn't matter. I've got my little kitchen board off to one side. I'm just drawing my pencil, drawing my distress crayon onto it. This is the Weathered Wood Distress Crayon by Ranger. I'm going to take my tiny one because, well, we're not sure if this is going to work. Tap it off, don't go crazy. You can put more on, you can't take it off. I'm going to start a little bit out from my picture. I'm going to start making kind of a circular shape. And then I'm gonna bring it inwards as I run out of ink on there. Just a bit like an egg shape is what we want. You can see where I've put my white, it just keeps the blue a bit paler. And by waiting until we've got most of the product off to come into the picture, that will help as well. I'm just going to put a light layer of blue on the inside in there. Trying to maintain our egg shape. Just makes it look a bit more purposeful. Okay, and then let's see, what blue are we brave enough to go for? Considering a black, I think that would be crazy, so we'll try dark, we'll try grey first. Let's try grey, work our way up to mental. Pop a grey on, any grey, kind of a medium tone. I'm going to use my little one just because, like I say, I'm just trying to be careful about it. This could go terribly wrong. Nice and lightly while you're not sure. Ooh, she says as she slips. Ooh. Extending that out a little bit. Not bringing that grey over my picture, except for the bit where I slipped. I'm just going to blend that in. I will, however, bring it down to the base of my rocks, I think. Give it a bit of the look of the floor. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of white just to see if we can lighten up that centre portion, whether the white will go over the top and actually work or not. About to find out. It might not, it might just blend the colour. I'm hoping it lightens it a little. Okay. It is what it is. Right, that is that. Okay, so that's our background. And now we need to probably let that dry, but I'm going to just lean on a piece of paper for the sake of not letting it dry, basically. I'm going to take my greys again. I've got my white. And now I'm going to add a little bit of shadow under these rocks. Just a little. Now you do need a good white for this. I think the Prisma white would be excellent for this. I'm pretty sure the Luminance white is pretty good for this. I've left all mine downstairs, so I'm going to use the Polychromos white, but I might go over it after with my Prisma. And I'm just gonna re-edge, if it will. Let's see. Not sure this is going to react well with the gel crayon. Bear with me, I'm going to pause you. Okay, and I'm back. Right, grabbed my Prisma white. I would say that owning a Prisma white, you can buy open stock so you can get them on their own, is not a bad idea. We're just going to lighten up just a bit of a halo effect. Around those mushrooms, just a little bit. You could always activate the gel crayons with a bit of water if you wanted to as well. And I'm going to pop my rays back in. I'm going to do like a dark line and then blend that off and out. To give kind of a misty look to that light effect. Do keep just kind of wiping off your white pencil. I'm wondering if I should have used a wax for this in the first place, because it would have resisted my crayons better. I'm sure oil pencils have that same effect. Future lesson. Just remember that. But yeah, I'm just misting this out so it just looks lighter. Give that kind of lit effect. I need a pencil, sharpener pencil, and just blend that out a little. Get rid of any harsh lines around those mushrooms. Okay, let's brush that off, and then last bit, guys, a bit of white gel pen. So I want to essentially white out where the light shines. Across the top of those mushrooms. So I'm just whiting out the tops of those, and then we'll white out these little black lines on the rocks, give an automatic highlight to those. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to white out these stars. And we'll leave the little black fluffs as they are. Why not? We'll have a little look. I'm deciding whether to white out the top of my dots. Got to be careful because you get to that point where you've just gone too far. And the problem is you don't really know where that is till you've just done it. Just the top half of my dots. Try not to lean in your gel pen. Try to decide if they just look like they've got snow on them now. And then what you can do is take a black or a really dark grey, and you can just kind of work into the white edge, and it just softens. You know where your white gel pen ends, it just kind of creates almost a little feathering effect. And just softens where it meets or ends, sort of thing. Tends to be worth that little bit of time. I don't even let it dry because sometimes it's easier to move like this. And then later when it's dry, I'll just kind of brush off to remove any of the bits, but it just takes off the corners in a way. You're not just little harsh white lines meeting the black. You've got, where did I do to? There we go. Just keep cleaning off the end of your pencil. These little tips that we learn by doing and thinking, oh god, that doesn't look good. There's usually a way to fix it. Do I risk brushing that off? Ah! Oh, okay. Alright. And there we go. It just kind of takes off those really rough corners and they look a little bit more smooth and blended in. So, let's, we'll bring you out And there we go. It, as always, it isn't quite that bright purple magical cave look that I always end up that little bit grungy. Oh well. But I feel like I achieved what I wanted to. How can it take me this long to colour something that small? I hope you guys found this interesting in some small weird way and you enjoyed some of the tips and tricks today and the page. And as always guys, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if it was the sort of thing you like, and please subscribe to the channel if you're not already.